Hey there. A couple weeks ago, I read in a TMZ report that the man who owned the house that was being leased on behalf of singer David in the Hollywood Hills had hired a private investigator to look into what had happened at his house, which I thought at the time was pretty stupid. I thought it was pretty ridiculous. I mean, where are we going to get? But we got some stuff, and we're going to go over it here in just a minute. Stick with me. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about the murder. Let's call it the death. We don't know if it's a murder yet. I think it is. I mean, the problem here is we don't have answers, right? But the murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose body that was allegedly dismembered was found in the trunk of a Tesla after it had been towed from nearby the house that was being leased for singer David. She had been missing. It was the third time that she had run away in 2024. But yeah, her body was discovered in a Hollywood tow lot after the vehicle had gotten towed. So I think, well, actually, before we get into it, where are we coming from tonight? I want to get us started with the comments from the live Bulldog Mom, live from British Columbia, Canada. Very glad. MBAT finally caught alive for the first time. Thank you very much. I'm feeling the love. So yeah, tell me where you're from and where you're tuning in from so that I can give you a shout out to you wherever you are. Okay, so let's not bury the lead. Basically, what happened here is on Friday, and I know I'm not the first to report on this. On Friday, the person who had been hired as a private investigator made an appearance on Vinnie Politan. And man, I'm having a hard time with my pronunciation. Vinnie Politan. And I have hodgepodged together, I think, 3 separate clips from his appearance on Vinny's show October 24th. By the way, do you know who else was on Vinny's show? It was me. Last night. Hope you guys caught that. What do we got here? We've got Raleigh, North Carolina. We've got St. Clair, Michigan. We've got Texas. We got Mass. We got Oregon. Karina from Sweden. Karina, some of my favorite memories of business travel are in Sweden. I wouldn't say I've spent a lot of time in Sweden, but I've been 5 or 6 times, and I love it. All Stockholm, but well, not all, because one time I drove from Munich all the way to Stockholm, so that meant that I was spending quite a bit of time in Sweden outside of Stockholm. But boy, what a beautiful, beautiful place. That whole archipelago is just amazing. Ontario is in the house with Samantha. Who's your Steph? No question where Steph is from. Indiana. DM's also from Indiana. We've got Pittsburgh Deb 412 representing the 412. Allegheny County, Pennsylvania. We've got Nancy living. Oh, hold on. Susie Hinojosa from Corpus Christi. We've got Nancy from Florida, but from Mass. Yeah, we got Wisconsin in the house. We got Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Moose Jaw, is that a real place? Pretty awesome. Colorado, Indiana. So glad. Mooney, of course, Virginia in the house. We got a lot of you. Thanks for being here. Okay. Hey, speaking of being on Vinnie Politan, actually, I've got 2 things before we get into this video. Number 1, I want to show you guys want to show you over on the fish tank. Let's bring it up right here. This is the fish tank. This is where we hang out on Facebook together. There's always an open invitation to come join us. But today is a very special day in the fish household because today is the date of birth. The anniversary of the date of birth of my one and only, my snuggly bear, Kimberly, who for 25 days was a younger woman than I am a man. But now we are the same age once again. We are both 50 years old. Happy birthday to the love of my life. I cannot tell you how blessed / lucky / fortunate / so many things, because she walked into that room almost 26 years ago. Actually, it was over 26 years ago. My goodness. It would have been the first weekend of July 1999 was I can get it for you guys. I can get it for you. The date. I want to say it was the 3rd of July. But let's go back in time, shall we? To 1999. I got to scroll way back. Oh my goodness, I got to scroll way back. Oh, 1999, July the 1st. It was July 4th. July the 4th, 1999. The day that woman right there walked into my life. The next day, I saw her for the second time, and she was holding the hand of another young man. That woman had a boyfriend, but you know what? I learned that I wasn't going to let that stop me. I wasn't going to let that stop me. And boy, I got talked into it. I shouldn't take all the credit. I got talked into it by a mutual friend. Invited her over to the apartment on Tuesday. That would have been July 6th. And the rest, they say, is history. Oh my goodness. Best ever. So that's number one. Number two I want to tell you about is that I was on Vinnie Politan Investigates last night, and they are going to premiere that episode on YouTube here in about 30 minutes, maybe like 15 minutes. So you guys will be able to see it. And over in the fish tank, where this beautiful creature's picture has been posted, that's at Livraria Lelo in Porto, Portugal. I will post it so that you guys can have a link. So head on over to the fish tank for that link. Okay, now let's go back to Celeste Rivas. We are going to go to this clip right here, and we're going to watch together. Of course, don't be all upset when I pause along the way. Apologies to Vinny for pausing it right there with his eyes closed. There we go. Right there we go. We'll do it like that. He looks nice and handsome. Now, okay, we're going to watch this video. I believe it is about 8.5 minutes long, my cut of it. This was from Court TV, October 24th. Here we go.
But the question is, who was driving the car? Who had access to the car? Who left the car abandoned on the side of the road? To me, that's an important question in all of this. That person may not be the killer, but that person may have some information that could lead you to the answer to what happened to this teenage girl.
14 years old.
We've got a special guest joining us here at the top of the show on this.
By the way, David is and was at the time a grown man, an adult man, hanging out with allegedly hanging out with a 14-year-old girl.
Story. Missing persons private investigator, search and rescue pilot, and ground search technician Steve Fisher is with us. He was also hired by the homeowner of the house where the singer David was living. Also joining us, host of the Outlier podcast and Pop Crime TV reporter Lauren Conlon. Great to have both of you here tonight. Steve, I want to begin with you because making a lot of news with all of this, involving a video apparently that you were able to get your hands on. Give us the backstory on the video, what you can tell us about the video, and what that video revealed to you and what you've done with the video.
So it's from the neighborhood. It's right down the street from the house that David was staying in, that his manager leased, and it's a video of the Tesla being moved on the 29 July 29th, about midday, and it's the same day that they leave. A group of them leave on a tour bus to begin the tour, the first day of the tour on the tour bus going to San Francisco. So the Tesla at that point is actually already in as dirty state as it is in the pictures that we obtained right when it was towed. So it looked like it had been sitting again for a while, and it looks like they just made one last move with it before they set out for this part of the tour.
Now, as you described that, everyone at home is saying, well, who?
Really interesting, by the way, that it was moved there and they were heading out on a tour. Honestly, that's the weirdest thing, right? They get into it, though.
Is they? Do we know who they is?
That's something that, right. I know who was driving it on that last little move that it made to that parking spot there. But that's something that I'm not going to disclose yet. I think that would be stepping on LAPD's toes, which we don't want to do. We just want to make sure that some of these things are known and that that there's justice in this case, because that statement that LAPD came out with not too long ago was a little concerning. It made it seem like really culpability of concealment of a body might be the extent of the charges.
So, and I just want to get a clearer picture here. The house where this was would there be a reason?
By the way, I didn't see the LAPD's comment that there might only be concealment of a body charges. I must have missed that somewhere. If you guys have a link to that, give it to me. I'd be happy to check it out. But I mean, he does seem concerned about it, right? All right.
For the car to not be at the house? Like, were they abandoning the house and they're never going to return to the house? Do we know anything about information like that?
I don't think that was the plan, because they left a lot of stuff behind the house. They did, after this all went down, they moved some of it out, but even then they left a ton behind. So I think it was just, maybe that psychological factor of just a little distance gets it a little, further away from, from the house. I think it was not a permanent solution, obviously, but I think that they did have a plan down the road. I think it just, the towing really upended that plan.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting thought. Like, well, you guys know how I feel about people who believe they're criminal masterminds. This is Gavin's iron law of criminal mastermindery, and that is, if you think you have what it takes to be a criminal mastermind, that is evidence in and of itself that you do not have what it takes. These guys appear to have been attempting to cover up a crime, and they thought that parking the car on the side of the road as they're heading off on tour was a good idea. That's just stupid. It's not smart. And had they kept it in the garage or on the property or something else, almost anything else, they would not, her body would never have been found. And I think Steve Fisher is right here, that they just, there's something in them to go, oh, we need to get it as far away from us as we can, but still have the ability to control the situation. We'll park it on the street. I think he's right. I just think it's ridiculous for them to think that way.
Let me ask you, Steve.
And I'm sorry, the question that has been in my mind is this a murder? Was Celeste Rivas murdered? Or did she accidentally, did she accidentally die in David's company or house, and they panicked and said, well, we got to hide her. Nobody knows she's here anyway. Something like that. But the other question that I might have is, well, if it wasn't murder, if it was an accident, say she overdosed or she tripped and fell and hit her head, and they're like, oh, we've got a minor here, this will ruin everything, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I think any evidence of any sexual contact between Celeste and David probably would have decomposed along with her body. And I'm sorry to get gross about that because this is a 14-year-old girl and she's a victim here. But we have to talk about the forensic side of this, right? And you know what? Maybe I will bring this up on Thursday because on Thursday I have a special guest. I actually have some amazing guests coming up on the channel that I'm just going to show you real quick. Tomorrow we have my true crime bestie, Sherilyn Dale, is joining me. Sherilyn, beyond her amazing YouTube channel, has been putting together some awesome limited series podcasts. We're going to talk to her about that. And then on Thursday, we have the man himself, Joseph Scott Morgan, is going to be joining us to talk about the forensic side of the investigation into the murder of Kata Scott. Maybe on Thursday we bring this up and talk to Joseph Scott Morgan about, what happens to any evidence of, say, sexual contact as the body decomposes. I think the answer is probably obvious, but he should give us a very, very good answer to that. He's the man there. So that will be Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, my buddy Sherilyn Dale will be joining me, and I'm really looking for. I haven't talked to her. I've talked to her. I just haven't had a deep. We used to have a podcast together called Murder Between Friends, and if we could get a producer to book guests, we both would take it up again because we had so much fun doing it. But so we used to talk all the time, especially on the podcast. I'm really looking forward to Wednesday. Okay, let's go back. Where are we going? Back over here. Here we go.
Is there any indication of what is the last known proof of life of Celeste?
So the last that I have, and I don't know, what LAPD has, but there was some media left behind at the house, and there's photos from a camera that David was using, and the last photo of Celeste is January 2nd of 2025.
Wow.
So if she was dead January 2nd of 2025, and her body was discovered, oh my goodness, I'm blanking. What was it? September? Hold on. I want to say it's September 7th, something like that. When was it discovered? Let's do this. Celeste Rivas timeline. Yeah, I'm having a hard time finding a simple timeline, but July 29th. Yeah. So anyway, I'm having such a hard time. Let's see. Guys, somebody help me out here. When was her body discovered? I'm having such a hard time. September 6th. That's what it seems like to me. So if the last time anybody saw her was in January, where has she been since? Now, this is just what he's saying. The last proof of life that he has was January. But where was she between January and September is a question that I would love the answer to.
Now, without revealing what you found, right? Because some things you may not be able to reveal. In what you went through in the house, did you find any evidence of criminal behavior?
So, you know, it's
Great
not a crime
question.
to think about doing certain things, but we found some things that had been delivered to the house that just don't belong there, or don't belong in any type of environment like that. And they are things that you could use to get rid of a person if you wanted to. And they're really, you know, people say, oh, it's got to be tools and stuff. It's beyond that. It's really sadistic stuff. Now, LAPD didn't take it, but they have told us that they photographed it. But again, you know, that's not a crime, just ordering these things, you know.
Right.
But I think it does, you know, show that there was some intent, and you know.
Yeah, well, right. It's not illegal to have, but if you're putting together a case and it ends up being a homicide case and these things are
Right.
around, that's a piece of the puzzle, the building blocks of any prosecutor's case. Now, Steve, getting back to your video, and you've provided it to LAPD, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So they have it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And from that video, you're able to tell who's driving the car. And you use the term they, so there's more than one person involved in all of this. And obviously, none of them or all of them could be involved with what happened to Celeste. We don't know. But are they identifiable from the video?
Yeah, and to be clear, so there's one person driving the car. When I say they, it's because there's images from right before and then after the time frame the car was moved that same day of people at the home and then on the tour bus. So when I say they, I know that they were in a group, but there was only one person that moved the car, and that person is identifiable for sure.
And is LAPD, my guess is they would have wanted to have spoken to all these people. Do we know if they have given statements? Do we know if LAPD has spoken to David and anyone else who may have been in and around the home at that time?
Well, I know that, you know, before she was identified, there was a statement from David's camp saying that he did plan on talking to LAPD when he came back in town because he had a show at the Greek Theater in LA, which was canceled. I hope they've talked to these people, but you know, they're not telling us that. You know, we have not gotten. We've been trying to get a copy of the search warrant with the probable cause affidavit because the owner's entitled to that since David.
Man, he's about to say that won't be disclosed, but it would be so great to get for that to leak, the probable cause affidavit for the search warrant of the home. And California is just not a place that's going to disclose a lot of stuff.
It wasn't on the lease. We haven't gotten that yet, and that's not something we could disclose anyways. But I would hope that they're talking to. There was a core group of people that were around a lot and all the time. And I'll tell you what, Celeste is not one of those people that it's in this house in these photos. You know, there's people are showing some photos of an old house from before, but there was another place that appears to be in East Hollywood or downtown that I believe she was staying at, more like an apartment. And so I think that hopefully they get to the bottom of that and figure out, because I think she was living with somebody as well too. She was not at this house 24/7.
And
that is a great point, right? That there are a lot of people here who will know what Celeste was up to, where she was living, who was she associating with, was there any, and I'm sorry to keep harping on this, but David was a grown man and Celeste Rivas was a juvenile child, 14-year-old girl. What was their relationship? What was going on there, right? There will be so many people that know that, and hopefully there will be digital or otherwise forensic evidence that would show what what that relationship was.
How far back do the videos go? I mean, are there videos before that date on July 29th, and do they reveal anything?
They go from December of 24 up until I forget the exact date, but it's about I think it's like April or May that they go to.
All right, Steve Fisher.
So go ahead. There is back in 24. Yeah, she does appear on some images in December 24 as well, but the last one is January 25.
Okay, so that is the end of it. I'll just put it up like that again. Dang it, Vinny, I'm sorry. There we go. Make it make it about there. So yeah, the questions that I have here are, I mean, pretty simple ones. And I'm just going to reiterate them. And I hope you guys have a bunch of questions. So put GF in the comments so that I can go and check out what it is that you're asking. But my questions are, number one, what was Celeste Rivas doing in that whole time frame, starting December 24th all the way until July 29th? Her body was discovered September 7th or 8th. I'm sorry. What about, my second question is the time delta. What was happening with her body between when they believe she died and when her body was found? And number three, we're going to ask Joseph Scott Morgan, what would happen to the forensic evidence in that relatively small front trunk area of a Tesla Model X with a human body decomposing? What forensic evidence would remain? Those are the big questions. The relationship between a 14-year-old girl and a grown man, that bothers me, man. That really, really bothers me. Yeah, Celeste was 14 at the time of her death. KC32 says, isn't there a video in front of her in front of the market after that when she ran away again? I think you are correct. I think you are correct. And Pammy says Celeste was 14 at the time of her death. Indeed. Lucy Fair says, just about to take the dog for a walk and glad to have Gavin in my ear. Hey, here's a question for you guys. And this is a little bit of a tangent, but I'm thinking about taking the audio from my YouTube videos and just turning them into a podcast. Is that something you guys might want to listen to? That's something that I would have, that I'm considering doing. Tina, it seems as though her parents either allowed this relationship or didn't do anything to stop it. To me, it seems like Celeste was a perpetual runaway child. And I don't know that there was anything that could be done to stop her. It's really tough. All right. Doesn't look like we have too many questions in there. So I think we might call it. Let's see. Pammy says, so sad. He started his relationship with her at age 13 per Gisela. Just sickening. Yes. Skeeter says yes to the podcast idea. Bulldog Mom says, yes, I listen more than I watch. So that might be something that I do. Truth Seeker Renee says the body of 15-year-old Celeste was discovered on September 8th. Thank you very much. And Mooney says, wasn't she supposedly groomed by him starting at age 12? I mean, there are lots of rumors out there. I don't know. How old was David at the time? Let's look up David age. He's 20 now, so 19. You know, maybe 18 when they started their relationship. It's not right. No. Dandelion says, until I hear from her parents, I'm going to reserve my judgment of them. I was a runaway and nothing could stop me from leaving. Yeah, I have a childhood friend that I'm still in contact with, love him to death, who, I mean, he picked up at age like 15 and left. Like, he was gone. He was nowhere to be found. I think he checked in with his parents once he was many, many, many states away. So, yeah, with some kids, there's just nothing that can be done. And I was thinking, I wouldn't call him a friend. In fact, I would call him a foe. But as we grew older, we began to understand each other. But a kid that I knew, I mean, probably starting when I was 11, 12 years old, we went to middle school together. We went to high school together. He was kind of we didn't get along as kids. But he ended up kind of, well, not kind of, he ended up living on the streets and died. I think that's been 4 years ago now. The last time I saw him, I was back in California. I was visiting my folks. This is 4, maybe 5 years ago, and I went to Walmart to pick up some things, and he was outside of the Walmart and recognized me. I didn't recognize him. Anyway, I know his parents really well, and his mom described him as a sweet boy who lost his way. There just wasn't anything that could be done to help him. They tried everything. So I'm kind of with you. Now, I also understand that there is a bit of a language barrier for most reporters with Celeste's family. So I would love to talk to both of them. I would love that. Let's talk disability. As I understand, he was an adult, but how old? I think he was probably 18. She was 13 or 12 when they appear to have gotten together. Las Vegas, Medi Pedi Center and Spa. I listen more than watching while working. So maybe I do. Cinnabay says, Gavin, I ran away twice at that age. My mom dang near had the Pentagon looking for me. Her mom wasn't even posting about her on Facebook. She could have tried harder even if she couldn't stop her. I see what you're saying. Okay. Neva Nick says, Gavin, as long as you make sure YouTube gets to see you and the info, I watch when you have documents, but clean, etc. when there are none. I got it. Okay, cool. Let's see. Clicked on that. Here we go. Gavin, if they were both in high school, it's not unheard of. Seniors date freshmen. I don't think it's right. Yeah. There are Romeo and Juliet laws in some places. I think California even does have a Romeo and Juliet law. Let me look it up. Love struck Romeo, sang the streets a serenade. That's a great song. California does not have a Romeo and Juliet law. But there are Romeo and Juliet laws in many places to protect an older child who they've had consensual sexual relationship with one another when they're both juveniles, and then the day the older one turns 18, it protects that person from being charged. But in this case where we're talking, Celeste would be 15 now. That's what we know. She'd be 15 now. He is 20 now. So there's at least a 5-year difference. So, if he was 19, 18, she's 13, that's too big of a gap. It's too big for me. If it's a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old, that's different for me. But, yeah. KC32, I think they started off their relationship as gamers. Wonder if she lied about her age too. No excuse, but she does appear older looking and might have played it off. It's possible. Dandelion says, if his friends thought she was 19, who's to say her parents weren't told he was much younger? We don't know what we don't know what we don't know yet, is what Dandelion is saying. That's good. Lucifer says, when my mom found out she got me on birth control and was disappointed but didn't do or say anything to make me want to run. It's a balance, but I would have rebelled if she was more harsh. Yeah. What is a Romeo and Juliet law? Let me just explain this real quick, okay? Romeo and Juliet laws provide exemptions for consensual sexual activity between minors who are close in age. So this means that a person can be, let's see. California law considers any sexual contact with a minor, regardless of the age difference, to be illegal. This means a person can be charged with a crime for having sex with someone under 18, even if the perpetrator is also a minor. Interesting. So many people I knew growing up were breaking the law. But let me just read like what a Romeo and Juliet law is a legal provision that provides an exemption or defense to statutory SA charges for individuals in a consensual relationship who are close in age. These laws are designed to prevent young people from facing severe penalties for consensual sexual activity and may reduce or drop charges, eliminate mandatory registration, or change the classification from a felony to a misdemeanor. However, not all states have these laws, and in some states, like California, no Romeo and Juliet law exists, meaning that sexual contact with someone under 18 is always considered statutory SA regardless of the age difference. So that's what a Romeo and Juliet law is. Yeah, great question. Allison Loves Animals says at that age, 5 years is like a whole generation. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll have to keep our eye on this case. It's an interesting one. We certainly have a question for Joseph Scott Morgan on Thursday. Remember that we are going to be with Sherilyn on Wednesday. Can't wait to just do a little bit of bestie babble with her, which is what we used to call it on Murder Between Friends. Sherilyn is one of my favorite people. I just love her to death. I hope that you guys love her as much as I do. And then on Thursday, once again, with Joseph Scott Morgan. Let's see. One more quick comment. I listen almost exclusively in the background on YouTube while I'm working and bounce between creators. I don't typically switch to other platforms for podcasts because they're usually also on YouTube. Well, interesting. Okay. We've got a lot to think about. You can always reach out to me, guys, on my website, gavinfish.com. There's always a link down in the description below. If you click on this little icon, that will take you to my contact me form that will send me an email with anything you want me to know. Also, just quick little aside, in the description below, if you're here on YouTube, assuming that this is a podcast somewhere else, there is a link to my Dropbox. If there's any files, anything that you think we should be covering here on the show, you can drop it there. Also, if you click on this little button, like I said before, you can head over to the Fish Tank where we hang out on YouTube, not on YouTube, on Facebook, and talk about true crime topics, some that we cover here on the channel and some that we don't. And you can just get one more good look at my one and only. Back on our trip to Porto, which I wish that we were still there a lot of days, who is now a beautiful, majestic 50-year-old woman. We have shared more than half our lives together, and the only thing that could make it better is if we shared all our lives together. I'm not just saying that. She's amazing. All right, guys, with that, I shall bid you adieu. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Thanks for spending this time with me. Thanks for your input on my question about podcasts. We'll see you tomorrow night, Sherilyn Dale, right here on this same channel. And I hope to see you then. Till then, take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.